Hey guys. I'm gonna do a quick intro really fast. I'm Yusra. I work here at NOCD. I run our social media. This obviously is Nikki. We are going to be talking about and hosting this webinar on managing perfectionism and risk anxiety with OCD. OCD is something that we both deal with. And Nikki, I'll let you introduce yourself, give a little spiel on what you do, and we can go from there.
Hi, so I am a content creator. I make YouTube videos and typically they're very, very long. I'd say I get very kind of overly invested in researching topics to the point where it is a little bit of a problem. Because if it's whether it's like a video about a book or a video about like a deep dive on another person, it's it's always equivalent to like 2 to 3 hours. It ends up being so much work, but it makes me happy that people watch them and enjoy them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have like a favorite topic that you've done recently?
Um, my favorite topic that I did recently, honestly, was Jeffree Star, just for the sheer like insanity of
Yeah.
what it is and like what a kind of like enigmatic but terrible person he is. There's something like, despite the horribleness, like to studying like a glamorous supervillain, because that's truly like what he is. Like he's like he's like that character from I think I think it's Powerpuff Girls, where it's like this gorgeous
Yeah,
lobster.
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
Yes, I love that. No, I know Jeffree Star's that's a whole, I could talk for hours.
And I did.
I did. All right, let's get into a little bit about OCD and maybe just touching on your early experiences with OCD. Like, how did that first start showing up for you?
Oh my gosh. Like OCD has just caused me so many complications through truly my entire life. Like I remember like first kind of experiencing this in second grade, and I got it into my head that I felt overwhelmed with like the stress of anxiety, to the point where like one day at school I cried, and then I got it in my head that if I didn't cry every day at school, that something bad was going to happen to like my mom and my sister. And so that's what I did, and it was like I didn't understand why that I was like obsessed with it. And it was like very, very embarrassing. And like unfortunately, like the adults around me also didn't understand it. And so, like, basically, I was just kind of like ridiculed by my teacher and just being like, basically, like, what is wrong with you? Like, why are you doing this? And like it just like spiraled into more and more reasons why I should keep doing it, because I got it in my head as well that like, oh my god, I'm going to get detention, I'm going to get in trouble. And in reality, what was causing the whole problem was this like obsession with crying. And I mean, I guess that also goes to show like how many people are like ill-equipped to understand OCD,
Mm.
um and to like try to help people that have it.
Yeah, for sure. And when you were like feeling this way, did you know it was OCD? Did you know something was wrong? Like, what was your kind of takeaway from what was going on in your head?
um I think to a certain extent I did like know something was wrong, but it just became so normal to me, to like a disastrous degree because I truly believe that like, oh, I have to do this or something bad's gonna happen. And like it's kind of just up to me to like prevent all these things, which is definitely like in the subgenre of like magical thinking OCD.
Yeah.
The first time I actually saw, this is so stupid and funny, but the first time I actually saw somebody who I really related to who was showing symptoms of OCD was in the show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, because basically I believe it's Charlie's mom has it, and like she flicks like a light switch on and off, on and off, on and off, and she says something like, I have to do this or Charlie's gonna die. And I was like, wait a minute, that's like so me.
Yeah, I've seen that episode too, that's so funny, and then, like, the way that they respond, like, Charlie's mom actually is like, "Yeah, like, I'm gonna do this," or, like, "Charlie's gonna die," and then they're like, "He's so weird and crazy," and, like, when I first watched that, I was like, "Wait, but I do that, like, maybe I'm just weird and crazy too." So I get that. Um, how did perfectionism start showing up for you?
um Gosh, I think perfectionism started like in relation to like work, for sure started with like spiraling about my appearance and being like obsessed with it to such a degree where like I was just thinking about it 24 hours a day, like without break, just like relentless. And like whenever I would film something, I would hate it and be like, I can't post this because the way that I look, like I just look like a monster. And I would refilm it, like refilm hours of footage. And it was just like absolutely terrible for just like being productive and, you know, living like a normal person. So I think that was like, that's like a major thing that affected me and still does affect me sometimes, but I'm sure we're going to get into this in a little bit, but like ERP has definitely like helped with.
Yeah, for sure. And especially like with your career and being so public facing, talking about like hot topics and just being in that public eye and really like putting yourself out there and like that's your job. That's how you make money. I assume that's like your passion and everything. Did you experience any, like, conflict from, like, your OCD showing up in your job or causing you more anxiety or, like, kind of battling with how to do the best you can at content creation while having OCD? So I just wanna kind of explore the connection between the 2.
Oh yeah, I mean, like there was a long stretch of time where I would get so obsessed with like a script and it not being perfect and not being like good enough, and I kept thinking like, oh, if this isn't good enough, then my whole career is over. I'm going to flop. I'm flopping like nobody's going to fuck with me anymore. Like this is it. And like it was just like again, it's just like really, really relentless, and like OCD really like takes things to the extreme and to the worst possible outcome, and just like leads to all this like self hatred and deprecation basically, where it's like I'm not going to be able to post this video. Like, I'm not going to be able to like meet my deadline with like brands because of this just terrible obsession. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it can be really hard still, but it's definitely like, there's definitely been improvements.
Yeah. And, with being, like, perceived online, I know, like, that's a big thing for so many people with OCD, just being perceived in general and, like, thinking about how others think about you. Do you feel like that ever came up in your experience, especially when you were getting a bigger platform and growing?
Oh, yeah, totally, totally. Um, like even in real life, and I don't know, this could be a totally different thing, but I have come to this like realization a little bit that I always kind of feel like I'm performing a bit, because I feel like just like this like constant visualization. Like I'm out here like watching myself like do things kind of. And I just get obsessed with like everything that I do. And I kind of I also began doing this when I was little, where I would start doing like calculations on like how many like social encounters, successful like social encounters I was doing, and like calculating like the next thing that I was gonna say to like be like, okay, I said like three entertaining things, so that's good. And that also becomes part of like being formulaic with like writing a script. I'm like, okay, I said like three things that are like interesting, um, which can be, I guess, kind of helpful, but at the end of the day, like creates it just like breeds like unhealthy obsessions. And then what sucks about being online and like actually like having a big audience is like people that are very negative also notice that it's not just like the positive side. And like I've literally seen like this whole like thread on Reddit where it was like, what do you think about Nikki Carreon's appearance? Like, is she attractive? And then all these comments basically being like the kind of like the alpha male like analysis on like oh, is her eye or her eye is proportionate to this and this, and like is her chin receded, and like what's the distance between her eyebrows and her forehead. And that was just terrible for me to see, honestly, because I already have this issue where I tend to spiral sometimes into being obsessed about like my appearance and like what people are thinking about my appearance. Like, oh, is she ugly, is she attractive? At the end of the day, like truly it doesn't matter, because I gotta do what I gotta do, and I'm not just gonna like lay down and die even if people think I'm ugly.
Yeah. It's hard. It definitely is hard, especially when it becomes an obsession of yours and you see other people commenting on it. It can be like, oh my God, everything I ever thought was true, and these people must know everything and they're right, even though obviously they're not. But having OCD can definitely make you feel that way, and it's just very overwhelming and a lot. I'm wondering like what you kind of did and whether it was ERP therapy that helped with this or any tips in general with that could maybe help people that are experiencing something similar to that with that perfectionism, being obsessed with appearance, or even perfectionism in another way.
um ERP definitely helped me with that, because I think it was not even on the table, not even in my brain whatsoever to even consider being like, oh yeah, like maybe that is true. But like, why is that like stopping me? Like what I love about ERP is like it's not telling you like, oh, like this is true about you, but it's not validating this spiraling idea, because truly, like if you are having these spiraling uncontrollable thoughts, like somebody telling you, oh, you're not ugly, is really not going to solve it, like it's not going to really stop what's happening. Like OCD is just so much more like, it's so much more strong than one person saying, oh, you're not ugly. It's like you have to just be like, well, whatever, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, like I just gotta move on. Like, or simply like I remember my therapist told me like one thing like you can say to yourself is like, I don't have time for this right now. And it's so real. Like I don't have time for this right now, I got shit to do. Like, and that has really helped me.
I love that because that's so true. Like none of us have time to be worrying about the things about. We really do not. Before we get more into ERP and your experience with it, I want to touch on risk anxiety and OCD. I think that's a very common theme for a lot of people. Um, and it shows up in ways, different ways for everyone, but one of the ways it can show up is, feeling scared to take a step, like whether that's like a risk in your career, like going for a different job, whether that's trying something new, putting yourself out there creatively. I wanted to know if you had any experience with that, maybe with your journey on YouTube or just as a creative individual in general.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I went through like a truly debilitating time where I simply could not make any decisions for myself. Like I was like constantly seeking out other people to like tell me what to do, like what is the right thing. Obsessed with like, oh, what if this is the right thing? What if it's not? What if it's not? What if it's not? And like not truly coming face to face or like considering like what do I really want to do. Like a really huge decision that I made recently was moving to New York because I wanted to make content related to like vlogging and stuff like that, and kind of like branch out in another area of my career and like see how that could go, and if people could also enjoy that aspect of me and like just kind of like show more of like life outside of doing my normal videos. And I deep down did know that that was what I really wanted, but like it felt impossible to hear that voice of truth because it was buried underneath these this like huge risk anxiety where it's like, well, what if just over and over again.
Yeah. Um, let's get into the ERP part of this because I feel like it can relate to how, like, to get help if you're struggling with this, but also, like, I know you said ERP helped you a lot in your own journey. Let's kind of start from the moment where you needed, like, you knew that you needed help for your OCD. Like, what was the point or accumulation of things that made you feel like, okay, like, something is wrong, let me get help?
Whew, oh my gosh. So in December of last year and then like January of this year, like I fully started having this brand new subgenre of OCD. Like I feel like every few years, like my OCD will just like change to something else and be like, okay, now actually I'm gonna be worried about this.
Love to do
Actually,
that.
I'm gonna keep miserable about this now. And so this time it was sexual orientation OCD, which is, I feel, even more complicated for me because I'm bisexual. So it's like it's not so like black and white where it's like, oh, you're this one way or this other way. And like obviously like sexuality can really just be fluid and whatever you want it to be. And because it's something not set in stone, like OCD doesn't like things that aren't
Oh,
set in
yeah.
stone. It doesn't like things that don't have a perfect answer. So I got really really obsessed with that. And at the time I was engaged to a man, and so I was spiraling about like thinking that I was like secretly a lesbian, and like, oh my god, you're lying to everybody, you're lying to him, like you're being fake, like you don't actually like men, like this is all a lie. And just like really spiraling about that because I kind of had created this environment unintentionally where like I didn't have a support system outside of him and the people that he knew. So that to me was like, oh my God, like I'm lying, I'm a lesbian, all of this is coming to an end, like I'm losing everything, like basically just becoming like suicidal. And I actually had to go to a mental hospital. Like I checked myself in for 3 days because this was like so insanely bad, like, and it just like, yeah, just like dangerous for me. And that was like really really a breaking point. And after I got out, bizarrely, I bizarrely, I let go of some of my OCD because I was like, okay, really, really, really bad things are happening right now. And none of my rituals are helping me. And I'm like, wait, so what if those rituals, what if those little things I'm doing all the time, like opening and closing doors, talking to myself, and like, um, doing things in threes, like what if those things actually aren't really helping? Because bad things are really bad. This is none of this is helping. So some of this like must not be real. And it was really, really hard. And I knew that I had to get help at that point that was like outside of normal therapy, because in the past, regular therapists had really made my OCD worse and enabled it, like especially with like this whole like getting obsessed with my sexuality and like spirituality as well. Um like I had told, for example, I had told a therapist about like one of my like rituals, and they had said like, well, some people believe in that, like
Mhm.
sometimes like spirituality, like they just do this. And I was like, this is not like helping me at all. And like another example is like I started talking to a different therapist, and immediately on the phone, this this person goes, oh, there's like a full moon tonight, and that means like something something is happening. Like I was like, don't
Oh.
tell me that. What? Like this is literally gonna make me be like, oh, so everything I'm thinking is right because the moon is this tonight. And like this is just like the delusional thinking of OCD. It's just like it doesn't make any sense. Like sometimes if you really just think about it, you're like, wow, this shit's stupid as fuck. Like really? I think if the fork doesn't go on the left, like everybody's gonna die. Like this is ridiculous.
No, 100%. And a lot of times, OCD obsessions and thoughts are so ridiculous. But what feels, at least to me, like crazy in a sense, is that like I completely believe it. I'm like, yeah, exactly. That makes so much sense that if I like don't say this to my mom, she's gonna die tomorrow. Like I have to say this. And it's
Hmm.
that I feel like people don't understand on the outside, especially if they don't have OCD because they can be like, well, just don't think about it. Just like stop thinking about it. Or my favorite is just try not to overthink. Like, I
Yeah.
wish I could do that. I wish. Trust me, we all wish. um,
Yes.
I also think you brought up a really good point about other types of therapy. If you do have OCD or think you have OCD, it's very important that you talk with someone specialized in OCD treatment because, like Nikki was saying, other forms of therapy can actually make OCD worse. They can be great for anxiety, depression, other things, but just because of the way our brains work with OCD, typical talk therapy can have the opposite effect for us. That's why ERP, which is exposure and response prevention therapy, which Nikki has been talking about, is so important. It's a specific form of therapy that was created for OCD, and it involves kind of facing your fears and your triggers in a controlled environment when you're ready for them so that you don't let them have control over you over time. Um, Nikki, what was your experience with ERP? Were you scared to start it at all? Were you ready to dive in? How was that?
I was scared because I was just like not ready to like, I didn't feel ready to like let things go, and like the bizarre like comfort that sometimes rituals could bring me. Of course, that comfort does not last because it's just a whole cycle of it. Like, oh, I feel this brief comfort. Okay, now I'm miserable again. Um, it's kind of funny because like my exposure with my therapist was reading literature that like had like women loving women relationships in it, so that I could be like, okay, if I like this, like that's actually not that big of a deal. Like this is actually not important if I like this, because it's like, you know, like that, like it's okay to feel like, oh, like I'm attracted to women and I'm attracted to men, or right now I feel more attracted to women. Like it's like, whether or not you are air quotes secretly a lesbian, like you can't like live your life in fear of like seeing anything related to like sexual orientation. Like I was literally like, it would literally send me into like an existential spiral to see anything related to lesbians, because I'm like, what? So that really that really helped me. It was really exhaustingly hard though, honestly.
Yeah. But do you feel like it's hard? Yes. Did you think that it was worth it? Like, did you see results from going through ERP at all in like your daily life, in your job, and things either becoming easier for you or just like more aware of what you're going through? Like, how did it affect you going through that hard process?
Yeah, so it really did help me. Like I of course like still have my moments where I'm like doubting this or get caught up in like rituals and stuff, but like what it was coming down to, that like what really helped me was like, there is no right or wrong decision necessarily. It's literally just like you have to make choices. Like the only wrong choice truly is to just do nothing and not try what you want to try and actually do something that you want to do. And so at this point, when I get caught up in that, I'm like, I'm just gonna do something. Like I have to make some sort of choice, decision, and not be completely paralyzed to the point where it's like, I'm not doing work, I'm not doing anything recreational, I'm just sitting here terrified. um so I guess my therapist being kind of like stern about this too, like this this thought is just like, you kind of just have to be like, whatever, like, okay, so what? And that's very hard to accept. And it's also like bizarre to me that like, because I have no idea like what it's like to live without this. So to think that there's other people that literally just make decisions, like, wow, I wish that was me.
I know. I totally understand that. Before we move into the Q&A, I wanted to just ask you if you have any helpful tips or tools for taking risks and tolerating imperfection, just because I feel like everything you do is so prone to being like picked on, whether it's in the media or just like by yourself, because like it's all about you. Do you have any tips for people that might be afraid to take risks or afraid of being not the best or not perfect at anything with their OCD?
Yeah, so I guess like first and foremost, like it is okay to be uncomfortable. Like it is natural to be uncomfortable, like especially with OCD. Like you are not going to feel great about a lot of things, but just know like, okay, I have OCD. I'm aware of this. So this is not going to feel normal. This is maybe not going to feel good. It's going to be very uncomfortable, but it doesn't mean that I just like give up and don't try, like it's just going to be, I guess you just have to accept sometimes that things are going to be harder for you because you have to deal with this. And what also has like really helped me is like talking to other people that kind of understand what I'm going through and like are aware. Like I think what's really important is like, okay, sometimes it can be really hard to talk to people with OCD because they might not be in a healthy spot with it to not reaffirm you. But if you talk to somebody else who is going through ERP, like that can really help because it's like we're both in this discomfort, this crazy discomfort. And I have a friend that also went through it. So that helped. If you can find a buddy, if it's possible, to kind of discuss your like ERP with, um, I think that's also a good thing.
Yeah. I definitely think community is huge, and it also shows you that you're not alone. I promise, like, whatever the craziest intrusive thought you've ever had is, like, no matter how, like, scary or horrible it feels, somebody else has had it, and they've probably posted about it
Or
somewhere.
worse, like like I realize that now too. It's like, oh, I think this is the worst thing ever, and but somebody is thinking the same thing and very upset about it at this moment, or something like even worse, because like there's a lot of different intrusive thoughts that like people don't understand and like feel like, oh, you shouldn't be thinking of that. That's not like real OCD or something. I've seen posts like that, like on like Twitter. Granted, Twitter is toxic already, but I've seen that about like particular intrusive thoughts, like especially about like there's people that like think like, oh my god, like I'm gonna say a slur or something, and it's like people don't get that. Like it doesn't mean that you actually, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that you want to do that or want to do anything bad or offensive. Like there's tons of like people that misunderstand, and that can be really annoying. That's kind of like a whole other tangent
Yeah.
where it's like there's people on like TikTok and stuff that are like, "Oh my god, my intrusive thoughts, my OCD." And it's like what they are describing is not OCD at all. It's kind of like stolen valor. Like, no, I'm actually suffering. Like you shouldn't say that.
It's like, "Oh, my intrusive thoughts one. I just bought the new Wicked Stanley Cup." Like, "Girl,
Yeah.
no, that's not OCD. That's not your intrusive thoughts
Like,
winning."
girl, I'm so glad you got that Stanley Cup. I'm glad it makes you happy, but like respectfully, shut your bitch ass up. Like, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, like, that's not OCD, that's not a true intrusive thought that's taking over your life. Um, really quickly for all of you guys that are watching, if you do feel like you want a community that isn't crazy toxic, isn't like Reddit or Twitter, on our website, we actually have a community space that's monitored by therapists, and a bunch of people post about their experiences, ask questions. It's just like a great opportunity for community if that's something you're looking for. No pressure. I just wanted to like put it out there because it actually helps a lot of people. All right. Let's get into the questions, the Q&A. So I'm just gonna read them out loud, and then Nikki, you can answer them, and just keep it super casual. Let's get into it. All right. So the first question is, "Hi, I just want to say to Nikki that I truly love your videos and they always make my day. And my question is, what does being enough mean to both of you personally?"
Ooh, that is an interesting question. Thank you for watching too. That's really nice. Being good enough. Hmm. I guess like I don't really think that I have to necessarily feel good enough to do what I need to do. Like there's a lot of times where I don't feel like the things I do are good, but like to just keep going, that that will eventually pay off and make you feel better and make you feel like, you know what, I am doing a good job, because like despite feeling like this, I'm still moving forward. So I guess so I guess oddly my advice is to not really care or try not to care so much whether or not you are good enough, because your threshold for what that means could constantly be changing. Like the meaning of that could truly be anything for so many different people. Like that is such a hard thing to feel like you have attained.
Yeah, 100%. And then for me, I feel that's still something that I'm struggling with, like being enough, feeling enough. I like constantly am thinking like, oh my God, like, am I the best daughter I can be, the best like older sister? Like, am I doing like well enough in my career? All this stuff. What's really helped me personally is like taking a step back and trying to take out all like the noise around myself and being like, okay, let me forget about what my parents think. Let me forget about like these societal like goals and expectations and stuff and just focus on me. Like, am I being a good person? Like, I'm not evil, right? I'm here and I'm
Yeah.
trying my best, and that is enough. And if I feel like there's something I want to accomplish for myself, I should do it my way, and that will be enough for me. You don't have to be enough for anyone besides yourself, and it's hard to like learn that, and I'm still working on it, but that's just something that personally has helped me.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Our next question, Nikki, is all right. I definitely have perfectionism, profession. Oh my God, I cannot read. Oh my God, perfectionistic. Yes, we got it. We got it. Perfectionistic tendencies, specifically with my new press-on nails business. So my question is, how can I learn to manage those perfectionistic urges so I don't burn out or lose my passion for nail design?
Hmm. I think sometimes returning to the basis of like why you enjoy something in the first place is a good idea, to try to like separate that from your feelings. Like, why do I do this? Why do I like it? Um, when I'm feeling like my anxiety is taking over my ability to make videos, like I have to kind of return to the basis of like, well, I really enjoy doing this because I feel that it makes somebody else happy, whether that's one person or 100,000 people or however many it is. And that's really important to me. And I feel like maybe that could also apply to even doing nails, like that maybe that's the basis of why you began in the first place. And like that is the greater purpose than being what you perceive as perfection.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you, Nikki. Next question is, does your OCD ever manifest as avoidance, like when the perfectionism becomes too exhausting?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I actually have a huge problem with that I'm trying to deal with right now. I'm actually struggling with that quite a bit at the moment. Um I am chronically avoiding what I need to do. Like I try my best to get over this, but I will sometimes, quite frankly, I will do anything but work. I sometimes I catch myself being like, damn, why the hell am I even doing this right now? Like this does not need to be done right now. Or I will play video games or something like that because I don't want to think about the big pressure of like, oh my God, this has to be good, or else this brand isn't gonna like me anymore, or else I'm not gonna make as much money or whatever. Um, that that can be really, really, really difficult, but like prolonging it does not make it any better. Like if anything, it makes it worse. And like the best thing that you can do is just try to do even a little bit of what you need to do, like what you need to accomplish. Like even if you only do a little bit, like it's better than nothing. It's better than spiraling and being like, oh my God, I didn't, at the end of the day, it's like nighttime, you're about to go to bed. I didn't do anything that I wanted to do or needed to do. Like that kind of helps me because I'll be like, okay, if I just try to do this for 45 minutes, even, I'm not going to feel like this big burden on myself that I did not at least give it a try. And oftentimes if you put a timer on and you're like, I'm going to do this for 45 minutes, like you end up doing it for longer because you get into the groove of whatever it is you're trying to do.
Yeah, 100%. That's great advice, honestly. I deal with that too with avoidance. And Nikki is right. Like for me also, if I just do a little bit, it's so much better than doing nothing because even if I feel like, oh my God, I'm stuck, like I can't do anything right now, at the end of the night, I'll be like, damn, like
Yeah.
I really didn't do it. Like I did nothing because like baby steps are still steps. So any like little thing you can do, even if it's tiny, can make a big difference mentally.
Yeah, I find myself saying out loud sometimes, like, Nikki, just do something. Like, choose one thing to do and just try to do that. Like, instead of just like this spiral, you know? Yeah, but it can definitely be difficult. And I like really feel for everyone out there struggling with it as well.
Yeah, 100%. All right, our next question is, I also make content and want to make videos. How did you overcome the perfectionism and keep a consistent rhythm with posting to still make it a part of your lifestyle? Sometimes I will get in the rhythm of things with posting and then stop because my OCD was getting in the way. It prevented me from continuing while starting over and over.
Mm. Oh, that was really hard for me to stop doing. I think what I got in my mind is like the 80% rule, if anybody's heard of it. Like if you're 80% there, you're good. Like at this point, like getting hung up on like getting to the 100% mark is like it's doing too much. Like I I would get really hung up on like again like the way that I look and stuff like that, and it's just like I would also think to myself like, okay, when I watch other content creators, am I just looking for somebody that is like really beautiful, or do I want to watch something entertaining that I just enjoy, you know? And also like there's plenty of people that are beautiful that also, you know, they don't thrive at making content. So I was just like, well, I'm kind of like there's a way to disprove what I'm thinking, you know? And even if I can't, it's like life is so short and precious that it's like, do I really want to live my life like letting this control me, like control every decision that I make? And like, I guess like your ultimate goal is just to, it's so hard. It is so hard to let that go. I think, hmm. I hope some of this is helping. I'm sorry if this isn't great advice. I hope some of this is helping.
Oh, I think that's super helpful. And it's also just real, you know? Like that response is very real and I think that's important. Um, our other question is, could you speak about the overlap between perfectionism, risk anxiety, and codependency?
Ooh. I have been a codependent person for forever. And oh gosh, the overlap of all of that is just awful. Oh my gosh. So, I guess risk and codependency, it's like, oh, I have to do this. This is my only choice. This is my only option. Like this is all I have. I've had that overlap with my career quite a bit, I think, because oddly, like I don't know if this makes sense, but I had gotten a codependency like with my job, like kind of thinking like this is all I have. If I don't have this, I have nothing. Like then like my literally thinking like my presence on this earth means nothing if I can't do this. And like that is so unhealthy. It's so unhealthy to think that way. And I guess what I really had to work on with this is like my self-esteem and just kind of liking myself more. I think like regardless of honestly regardless of what the mental health issue is, like I think this could really help anybody, because it's kind of like baseline, like you need it, you want like a foundation. It's like Jenga. You want a full bottom to this Jenga. Maybe there's some pieces missing at the top, right? So it can be a little off balance, but you need that base, and the base of it is like some sort of self, part of the base at least is some sort of like self love. So whenever I feel like things are getting out of control, I feel codependent on this person, or I feel like my career is all that I have, and like there's this risk of like it all going downhill or whatever, like just thinking back to these basics where it's like, I am kind of cool. Like, I like these cool things. I enjoy things. I like the way that I see the world. I'm a nice person. Like, bringing it back to that, it's like, I like myself enough to continue and try, even if I see these crazy flaws in myself. Like, there are good things about me that I appreciate. And so I want to try, and I want to try to ignore the what if for myself.
Wow,
Sorry, that's a
awesome.
long ass answer. I was like
I
yapping,
was like
yap alert.
I was I was like, "Yes, yes, amazing," and you ended it perfectly. All right. Our next question is, and I think you touched on this a little bit when we were talking, but I think it's important. Were you afraid to start therapy or worried at the beginning of therapy? I think they're talking about ERP specifically, that being told you need to be uncomfortable would make you feel worse.
Yeah, yeah. I was really worried about that. And also I was worried about feeling like not special anymore because of like magical thinking, like in a way you are thinking of yourself as like this like special person that like can control these things and like prevent things from spiraling out of control, prevent people that you love from getting hurt, stuff like that. um and then having that feeling where it's like, okay, I have this control, like I can do this, I can do this, like this is helping. Having that taken away from you can really do a number on you. Like, it is very difficult to think like, oh yeah, like I actually don't have control over anything and things just happen. Like, damn. That felt like a crazy slap in the face, honestly, but it's like square one of becoming more healthy. This is what people who live day to day without OCD feel. They're just like, yeah, like things are just happening, and I'm just doing my best. So square one is kind of just like accepting like, hey, like I just truly don't have control over any of this, or I have very limited control
Yeah.
over things that happen. Like I can do helpful things for myself, but like at the end of the day, like whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen, and no amount of opening and closing doors or moving a ketchup bottle to the left or turning the TV volume to 7 is gonna prevent that. It's very scary, but it's so essential to beginning to get your life back.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's the thing is like Yeah, it's scary and it's hard, like it is. ERP is hard, but it's so much scarier and harder to just live with OCD untreated, like for the rest of your life, like
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
OCD is a monster and it's so much worse to just like imagine just not getting the help that can actually help you get better. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, people, I think what prevents people from starting maybe is just thinking like, oh, this is so hard. This is going to be so hard. Like what is way harder is just living like that for forever. Like just imagining feeling like this without any sort of mechanism to help you or like tools to help you, like damn, like that is like it can be very torturous.
yeah. And like, hey, if you have OCD and haven't started therapy yet, you're already doing the harder thing. So it'll actually be a little easier once you start getting into it and trying out therapy. Okay, next question is, how would you approach a fear of making mistakes, but specifically with men, like male instructors, teachers, or a boyfriend, etc.?
um Making mistakes with them. I have had like, sorry, there's a hair in my mouth. um I had like pretty much exclusively bad experiences with the men like my whole life until like the age of 22. So I did not have any foundation of what like a healthy relationship looked like, or truly like how somebody should treat you, or like just like the regular rhythm of a relationship. And so my last one was like the most normal one that I had, and very like loving and like um just like very good. But what happened was that I became very codependent, and I think a big mistake with like having a relationship with somebody is like forgetting who you are and not doing things for yourself, and like spending time with others outside of that. And then I guess like for like avoiding toxic people, I mean like genuinely at the like everyone's experience is different, but like at this point in my life, like I am so over like accepting anybody that does not give me like full throttle like everything I deserve. Where it's like I just don't have time for that. Like if you're like dating and somebody gives you like this like major red flag, like what are you doing still talking to them? Like why waste your time? Like I guess that ties into the whole self-esteem thing. Like I don't know. That is a very that's a hard one. And I mean, I think I've definitely gotten better at like codependency now because I'm establishing my own friendships and relationships outside of this. Like I think that that's just like a really huge deal, is like your own independent life outside of them.
Yeah. 100%. All right. We are almost at time, so I'm gonna do one last question and then we're gonna wrap it up. Okay, so the last question we have is, have you ever felt that your morals and whether or not you're a good person was dictated or severely influenced by things like social media, saying what is right and wrong, especially in toxic places like Twitter?
Oh yeah, like I mean, I have thought that I was a bad person before, just getting wrapped up and oh like the internet is so freaking weird. Like there's all these like tests now, like TikTok will have like a test, like do this on somebody and see if they're a good person. And it's just like it's so much more like nuanced than what a random ass person on social media says. And like it's easy to get wrapped up in that and start applying these irrelevant things to your life. Like these irrelevant, like, oh, what if this happened and I didn't choose the right thing, or if I was mean or a bad person, you know? Um, yeah, that can be really annoying to deal with, honestly. But I guess like what helps with that is just remembering that there's this whole other world outside of social media where that doesn't matter. Like I have to think to myself like, "Oh, if I go outside and just like go for a walk, like none of these people on my phone are out here. Nothing that they say matters out here in the real world, you know? But it could be very hard to kind of like let go of that.
Yeah, 100%. And I also think that online is such like a I don't know, I feel like we're in a resurgence of like the 2012 Tumblr era. Like everyone has to be right about everything and say something in a specific way, otherwise you're problematic and canceled and
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
forget one
That
thing, you're yeah, the worst person. So that can be so much pressure. What do you have to say, Nikki? I feel like you
that
have
is something that irritates me so much because I feel like people are so keen on assuming the absolute worst of somebody.
yeah,
They're
without
like,
knowing
"Oh, you definitely meant that in the bad way. Oh, you definitely meant it this way. Oh, like you said that to be a bitch or whatever." Like it's absolutely crazy. Like
yeah,
people overanalyze everything that you do and everything that you say, and it's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. Like sometimes I'll get like comments where it's like somebody is mad at me for something that is absolutely just obtusely does not matter. Like, and it can just be very frustrating. Like people truly do need to touch grass sometimes and realize that there is bigger issues to be upset about than over analyzing like one thing somebody said and thinking like, oh, they meant that in the worst way possible, they're a terrible person. Like there are actual like evil people out there that we need to be focused on.
exactly, exactly. So if someone ever like says something to you or comments to you online or anything, know that they do not know you and you like one view of what you said does not equate to who you are as a person or what you stand for, you know? Like they people online just have purely like trolling energy. Like they just want to make something out of nothing. So especially with OCD, that can be so stressful and scary because you're like, "Oh my God, am I actually like the worst person in the world?"
Yeah.
That's not how it works. So, and that's hard to realize, but it is important, I think. So I'm glad that you touched on that, Nikki. Like, they don't know you, and
Sometimes you gotta just be like, girl, whatever.
exactly. And honestly, that's a big takeaway. That's how we need to be with so many of our intrusive thoughts too. Like, girl, whatever. All right, we have like 1 minute left, so let me wrap this up. Nikki, thank you so much. This was honestly so fun, and I feel like it was great for everyone. I see the comments and stuff. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your journey with us and giving all this advice.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, that was really fun. It's also kind of relieving in a way to talk about things like this to people who, you know, understand and maybe even help somebody who also feels this way. Like that's very rewarding to me. So I'm very happy to be here and thank you for having me.
Course, 100%. I just want to remind you guys that, of course, like throughout all this conversation, focus on self compassion, caring about yourself. Realize that progress over perfection, that's what you should be aiming for. You don't need to be perfect, that's impossible. But doing little baby steps towards your goals can make a world of a difference. And also, if you do feel like you have OCD or are struggling or just thinking about if you relate to some of these things we've been talking about, know that seeking out specialized therapy, even for a diagnosis, is so important. And yeah, you can even do that by booking a free 15-minute call with the NOCD team to learn more and get started that way. So Thank you all so much. This was awesome. Hopefully, we'll be doing more of these soon or something because that was so fulfilling and it was fun to talk to a bunch of people that actually get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you everyone
Bye.
for being here.